Thanks for stopping in at the Down the Road Show podcast, brought to you by the Murdock Worldwide Entertainment on Chronicles of Comic Con YouTube channel and Down the Road Show YouTube channel, and audio podcast wherever it's available. Also, we're sponsored by Everyday Natural Products. Get your mind right with their lion's mane. This is one of my favorite products. They are now giving our Down the Road Show listeners and fans 20% off at enpstore.com by using the promo code Down the Road. You're very welcome, and thank you, ENP Store, for hooking up our listeners and watchers. Excited to bring in an old friend and our next guest. How are you doing, Mr. Why does your name say Alice? That just threw me off.
That's my wife.
Mr. PoppinTwist, aka
right.
My friend Derek. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, my wife, she's she's much more of an office person. So she does all this the Zoom stuff, and everything's all through her. So yeah, and I'm still learning it. I come from TV, but I don't come from this kind of broadcast stuff.
Gotcha. And my ADHD kicked in immediately. So, how did you come up with the name Mr. PoppinTwist?
Well, I'll tell you, it was I'll give you the quick story.
Good, we only got an hour.
I was twisting balloons for fun. I was posting my balloons on Facebook and other social medias, and I got to a point where I felt confident enough that I could actually do this for a living. And
I can confidently tell everyone out there who doesn't know you, man, you've made some badass shit. That it's always just like, I'll see the finished product and I'm like, that's a full-size Hulk Hogan.
I appreciate that. So obviously I wasn't doing that when I got started. But yeah, I was doing balloons for fun, for family parties, and I got to a point where I felt confident enough that I could do a birthday party or something that for someone that didn't know me, or for a stranger. And because I've been a performer my whole life, musical theater and improv comedy, but twisting balloons and getting paid for it was a whole different kind of thing for me. So I told my wife on a Friday night around 9:00. I said, you know what? I think maybe I can do this. I think maybe I can, hang out a shingle and give out some business cards and try to make this work. And the universe, talks in mysterious ways. Not 12 hours later, I get a phone call from someone I knew from wrestling. She was a photographer from pro wrestling, and she said, "Hey, I saw your balloons on Facebook. Do you happen to do birthday parties or events?" And I was like, so I just happen to be, I can do. What do you have in mind? She goes, "I'm doing a benefit for cystic fibrosis, and the entertainer had to back out. And would you come in and do something for me?" And I'm like, she was stuck. It was a rock and a hard place. So I was like, okay, I didn't know what to charge. I didn't know what to do. So we made a deal. Something made her happy, made me happy. And then I went, great. And we went to my niece's graduation party after this phone call. And it dawns on me at that point in time that I can't just walk in and be Derek the balloon twister. There's no flash to that. There's nothing to that. So I texted.
There's no clown kind of element whatsoever. That. Yeah,
no. And I didn't want to be a character, because I am a character. And so I wanted to just be me on a higher level. So I texted my theater friends and my comic book friends and any creative people that I knew, sent this mass text out to 30-some people and said, "Guys, I have a gig in less than 24 hours. I don't want to be Derek the Balloon Twister. What can we do?" And I got countless name opportunity, all kinds of things that came back.
Like, I want to hear some of the ones you didn't use.
No, there's all variations on a theme, and it was there was and a lot of them had a qualifier on it, Captain this, Professor that, and it was like, great, but that's giving me something that's putting a character on me at that point, and I didn't want to have that. So someone said Mr. something or other, and someone else said Pop something, and someone said Twist, and I just kind of combined them together and said Mr. PoppinTwist. Yeah, exactly. And I said that's fun. I said because PoppinTwist, it's one word. I was inspired by Poppin' Fresh, because it's not spelled P-O-P-A-N-D. It's P-O-P-P-I-N. So PoppinTwist. And I was like, that's fun, you know. And
it's street, it's slang, it's East Coast.
Yeah, you know, yeah, East Side. But you know, I can, you know, I can walk in to a place, you know, and I can say, you know, I'm Mr. PoppinTwist, and that's how it happened. I became Mr. PoppinTwist that day. I went on. I did that gig, and then I immediately went on the internet and searched to see if anyone had the same name. No one did. I went on Facebook, make sure no one had the same name. When I realized they didn't, I grabbed the Facebook page so I could have, you know, and then I went, about 2 months later, I got the website, you know, so MrPoppinTwist.com. So like I made a point to try to make, you know, put my flag down as best I could, you know.
Right. And what can they find at MrPoppinTwist.com?
It's just a way to get a hold of me. It's not a huge website. I want to do more with it. It's right now it's just a catch-all. It's got a little background information on me. It's got a photo gallery of photos I've done, you know, of celebrities or with celebrities, or just the big builds I've made. It's got content information for me. It's just a way people can get a hold of me and see what I can do. I mean, I'm much more interactive on my Facebook and my social media, but you got to have a web presence nowadays for sure. And it's just, you know, it's there. You know, I have
it's branding. It's branding 101. It's
exactly.
Part of it. You got to have the name across all the social medias and the website. I do it with every single project that if it's a thought, and I got Twitter handles and Instagram names for stuff I will never do. So why don't you grab some balloons and start twisting while we're talking too?
I happen to have balloons. What do you have in mind?
I have nothing in mind.
Okay.
This is my creative outlet. Tomorrow I will be doing a podcast with Mr. Anthony Lee Wynn. Well, he'll be sharing lots of really great Stan Lee stories. And because I was trying to get him to do a live drawing to repeat what Tone did on a previous podcast. Tone did Wolverine.
I watched that one.
Yeah, that one was fun. Tone,
yeah.
And he's like, well, hey, I worked on a Wolverine comic too. I don't have to just draw Stripperella. And I'm like, fine. Then why don't you draw Wolverine getting a lap dance from Stripperella? So that's what we're doing tomorrow.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So that'll be a fun podcast. But so yeah, you blow whatever up you want, because that's a kind of medium it already got my mind twisted. I don't even understand it.
All right, I got an idea. I'm gonna play around with an idea. I was literally just inspired right now, so I'll see if I can make this work.
Perfect. And so it's you're on the East Coast.
Yes, I am.
Where are you living these days? Because it's been a while since we've caught up. We originally met at which convention was it? New York Comic Con, or was it Mike's Little Comic Con?
No. We first met at New York Comic Con. We met. You may not remember it as much because it was that.
I had a camera with me, so I was crazy busy that weekend, if I remember right.
Yeah, and also you had Wes Huffer and Steve Scott with you. So,
oh shit! My first New York weekend. Oh man, I got stories, man. Did you ever come to the gay hotel we were staying at?
No.
Where all three of us had to share a bed. Oh boy, those pictures are classic. I got roofied by a bartender in an all black gay bar that we accidentally walked in, but we weren't going to not have a drink when we walked into the place. I mean, we just heard good music and went downstairs, and it was like, oh, went to find the bathroom, found the changing room. So that was New York. My first time to New York was an eye-opening experience.
Yes, that I believe.
So how are you handling like quarantine and New York being the hubbub of COVID, and not to be all political, but like, you know, I got to get my Cuomo fix a couple times a week. I'm loving the man.
I got to tell you, the guy's doing a good job. You can't deny that. Yeah, the lucky thing for me, I'm on Long Island, so you know.
It's such a good thing that you actually put those headsets on, because that twisting would have overpowered everything.
Well, see, all the good things happen for a reason. But yeah, I'm out in Long Island. I'm in Nassau County, so you know, we still have our own fair share of issues with it. Obviously, as the spread moved from the city into the Long Island area, you know, because not to be
how rural and how far outside of the main metropolis city are you?
I'm about if there's not a lot of traffic, about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
because way before I ever went to New York City, I was selling magazines door to door in rural New York. So, so for people don't understand that New York State has a lot more in it than just those New York City and those giant buildings.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
it's green and lush and beautiful, and
a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, you figure most of your population of the entire state lives in Manhattan, Long Island, and you know the 5 boroughs of New York City and Long Island. You know, counting the Hamptons. You know, all the way. That's it. You know, I've been upstate. There's a lot of good stuff up there, but yeah, people don't realize it's not the same place. But yeah, so I mean, I when I'm not doing this, I have a part-time job. Well, it's a full-time job as far as I do teacher's aid work for a special needs school. So so I do that. Thanks. You know, so I do that. So when all this stuff started happening in the city and they closed the schools down, my kids, you know, this is going back, there was somebody who popped positive in a program that involved my kids' school students. So they closed the schools that day. So I'm still going to school. Yeah. So I'm still going to my school because my school, there wasn't going on. I work with high school students. It's a different environment. So my school, they didn't close. And then all of a sudden, when everything happened over that same weekend, by Monday, we were closed. So my school's been closed. My kids' school's been closed since March 16th.
Oh, okay. Early on.
Yeah, for sure.
So are you doing like some telecom teaching from home like a lot of people are doing?
Yeah, well, my kids, I mean, I'm a teacher's aide, so there's not much I can do as far as, you know, with the students. But what I can do is like I'm taking seminars and stuff like that. I'm learning stuff. If my teacher requires
expanding your teaching credentials.
Right. If my teacher needs any help with some other stuff, she's got to do, because you know, no one expected all this stuff to happen, so everyone's learning as they go.
And so you're taking advantage of the situation like a smart man.
Yeah, we're trying to, you know, because I work for a state or a county-run school. I have, you know, I'm luckily still getting paid, but I have to just make sure that I justify what I'm doing at home, kind of thing.
Right. Justify that pay. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I can't even justify my pay, and I work for myself. So yeah. That's the downside is I work for myself as Mr. PoppinTwist, and unfortunately that's dried up. Right.
I literally pretty much overnight. I had jobs in March that were gone as soon as the schools closed. My jobs in March were gone. And then April started to sneak away, and now my May is gone. And now, even if we go up and running as a, if we start letting people come back in and start, going out and reducing the amount of the quarantine, I'm still not going to have work because people are not going to have parties anytime soon.
No.
So,
unless you're in Georgia or you're the mayor of Las Vegas.
Right. My friend, I was actually just talking to my friend's in Georgia, and he goes, look, my life's not going to change. He goes, I'm not going to leave my house. I'm not. I don't believe that we should reopen the state back up again. He goes, so I'm going to stay home. If I have to go to work, he works in television, so he's an essential employee. So he does a reduced shift and that kind of thing. So he's like, yeah. He goes, I'm not. When I'm not have to go to work, I'm staying home. I'm in no hurry to run into my house. He's not a believer in the opening up of the state right now.
Right, and being here in New Mexico, we didn't get hit that hard. Like we're not a well-traveled state. So moving here last year seemed very fortuitous and fate for me with all of my health issues the last few years.
Right,
Not gonna lie.
You're in a dry environment, like all the episodes of Bonanza used to say back then. The people that if you watch, I used to work for MTV Networks, so I sat and watched a lot of TV Land episodes for a long time. So I've seen pretty much every episode of Bonanza and Gunsmoke there is to see. And
they pretty much use the same script in those.
They did. Oh yeah, same. And they would. There was always an episode where a guy, an older guy, and a girl would be little Joe would go meet this girl, and she doesn't feel well because we used to live in the big city. We had to move out here because it's clean, and the big city was all polluted.
We need that dry air to clean up our lung problems, and give me a couple.
Right, exactly.
And give me a couple more leeches.
Exactly.
So what did you decide you're making, or are you just going to show us and not tell us?
I know you, and I know what you like, and I think you're going to like this when you see it. When it all comes together, you let me know when you figure it out.
You're making a hemp plant.
No. I'm known for my cartoony type characters and stuff, So we're having some fun with that.
So your love of wrestling, how did that start, and how far back does that go?
Oh my God, my love of wrestling. I go back. I make the joke that I go back before the war that settled the score. Which was the precursor to WrestleMania 1. I grew up in Pennsylvania, Delaware. I used to watch.
Oh, so you used to go to the small circuits?
Oh yeah, a little bit. I was more watching the TV. Like I used to watch. On the Superstation, I used to watch Georgia Championship Wrestling. At 6:05 on Saturday. But on Saturday, you couldn't be a wrestling.
It was broadcast more on the East Coast than it was West Coast, and definitely not in Utah where I was growing up.
Right. No, I don't think Utah was known for its pro wrestling. I don't think there's a lot of pro wrestling in Utah.
No.
You had territories, but it wasn't getting to Utah. But yeah, so I was growing up with East Coast wrestling, West Coast wrestling, and then and then WWE, 85, WWE taking off, WWF in those days taking off. It was everywhere, the cartoon, and then, so I was invested, and that was
love the cartoons, yes.
So I was a fan from that, and then fast forward a little bit. And when I was in my teenage years, I got a job at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. Hershey Park has Hershey Arena. Wrestling came through Hershey Arena every month. So, and the wrestlers would come into the park before the wrestling shows. So you're meeting wrestlers at games, and I worked in merchandise, so they're buying stuff in the shops. So so that you're still getting that fandom because now you're seeing these guys that are huger and larger life in the ring. And then you see them, and they're just as large when you see them in real life. I mean, Road Warrior, Legion of Doom, Animal. He comes walking in the park. They sneak him in the back entrance to go in the park. He's walking around. I'm 16. I'm 5'11". Give or take a little bit. And this guy's a monster. I come back from a lunch break, and Hulk Hogan's getting out of his limousine.
Ooh,
I almost run into Hulk Hogan because no one knew his limo was parked where we had to go into. It's a big thing, but
you come out of that with a broken clavicle.
So I've been around it. I've just been around the world of wrestling, as a fan for the longest time, and then as a creative kind of person and as a performer, I make the comment that I'm a lucky guy because I'm the kind of guy that even though I look behind the curtain and I see how it works, that knowledge makes me love it even more.
Right.
The more,
the smoke and mirrors. I love the smoke and mirrors when you find out how things work.
I'm a child of a magician. My father's a magician. So from my youngest memories of my dad doing, practicing and doing magic shows and this and that and whatever. I was in 5th grade. I performed the magic show in 5th grade because I learned it from my dad. I do a classic comedy chain escape bit in a vaudeville show because I learned that from my father, and it's one of my favorite things he ever did. So I do the same thing because I just love how it works. I love getting, I love an audience. I love just being in front of a bunch of people and having a good time. So,
Hey, I always tell people all the time, you will never find a better drug than being sober and performing on stage. I miss playing with my band live for people. Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely.
Better than any drunk I've ever had. Better than any high. Better than anything. That's just natural endorphins. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's like there's an old George Carlin routine from the Toledo Window Box album, where he talks about the all the drugs that the seven dwarves are taking. You ever hear that one?
Yeah.
And he breaks it all down by each dwarf has their own vice. He's like Doc's the connection, and Sneezy, we know Sneezy's in the cocaine, and all these different things, And at one point he goes, Bashful doesn't do drugs. He goes, he's messed up enough all on his own.
Bashful, he's the introverted cosplayer.
Right. So that's kind of how I feel about myself, I messed up. I don't need the help.
Well, and that's the thing is like a lot of actors, singers, performers, and creators in multiple ways are introverted and shy people, and that is how they get to express themselves the best way is finding some sort of creative outlet.
Right. Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm in that category of like a George Carlin, like a Robert Williams. If I qualify myself in that way, I'm not putting myself on the same talent level. I'm not doing that, but I'm just saying as far as they were.
So many people stopped watching as soon as you said Robin Williams.
They were both introverted extroverts. When they were in front of an audience, they lit up and they went. He goes, but and they both will admit this. And if they weren't in front of an audience, they were very quiet, very sedate, and they were to themselves. And I'm kind of the same way. I don't care if the audience is one person. If there's a one person audience, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go full bore and I'm gonna entertain them the best way I can.
And that's true though, because you hear stories all the time about the set of Mork and Mindy on how quiet he was on set, but as soon as the cameras came on, right, Robin Williams was always on fire.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And to back up what you're saying about like you see these figures on TV until you see them in person, you don't realize how large they are. Like I've been to plenty of basketball games and seen Shaq play and seen him live and whatnot. But when I was in my late 20s and I was working at Verizon Amphitheater that recently closed down in Southern California in Orange County, it was an outdoor music theater that I loved. And in fact, my graduating class, El Toro class of '93, baby, we got to walk on that stage to get our diplomas. So like I was like, as a wannabe musician, one day I'm going to be back on that stage. Little did I know it would be because I was bartending there and found out, oh, I could go anywhere because I work here with my badge. So who would abandon their bar all the time just to go see shows that they liked? This guy. I would also like Bare Naked Ladies was one of my favorite shows. I watched the entire thing from the side of the stage and called in sick and just didn't even show up for my bar, and then just showed up there dressed to the nines and watched from the side of the stage the whole time because security already knew me. But my point being was there was an all-day festival I was working, and 311 was playing, and Shaq flies in a helicopter like big baller, goes up and raps with them. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go check this out from the side of the stage. He gets done and he walks by me and he has his hand up to give everybody a high five, and I had jumped all 3.5 of my vertical leap. For, white boy can't jump. I am the epitome of white boy can't jump, just to reach his hand. And that's when I was just like, okay, like watching him on TV and watching him live at the Staples Center does not do this man justice on how enormous he is.
Right. Oh no, absolutely. And it's like you meet a wrestler. There are some wrestlers that I'm taller than. I meet them and I'm just as tall as them, But then there are other wrestlers that I meet and I'm like, I can't believe you're taller than me, because it's all about who they were put in the program with and who you compare them to, and
Once again, it's that magic of TV and everything.
Right.
And you got like a favorite wrestling moment of a wrestler you met that was just like, okay, this was worth every second?
Well, if people who know me as a performer and know what I do, cool. Like I became affiliated with Mick Foley a couple of years ago. Basically, long story short,
Did you make a Sacco balloon for him?
Not a Sacco, but I pretty much made every possible balloon of Mick Foley you could make at this point. I made every face of Foley. For about a 2-year span, I was on I was just on standby with him. He would call me because he lived a couple of towns over, and so he would call me and say, "Hey, it's my son's birthday. Can you make him blah 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 blah?" You got it, Mick. I'm there. I started doing when he was doing his comedy tour. I would show up at his comedy tour and entertain because he would start doing like what he will tell you, and it's what he learned how to do was he'd go to a convention, and he'd have a line out the door, people waiting to pay for an autograph and a photo with Mick Foley. He goes, I talk about my comedy show. I go to my comedy show. I got 5 people in the audience. He goes,
I didn't even know any comedy, so yeah.
Yeah, it's like a spoken word kind of, just the stories of the road kind of thing, you know? So he would do that, and he was like, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. He goes, I'm going to start giving away an autograph and a photo for free if you buy a ticket to my show. Because he's like, you get the same money you're going to spend for me at a convention, you're going to spend for me at a comedy show. The comedy show makes money. I'm going to make money. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, and fans get double their worth, really. That's good promo and good marketing and good business sense. Bravo, Mick. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the problem in that situation is then you got to entertain a line of 75 people who are waiting for you after the show to get after you gave him a comedy show. So he would use me when he came to Long Island to do the audience control, and I would just go up and down the line and make balloons for people. You know, it's a weird kind of thing. I got started doing
It's
that.
not a weird kind of thing. I'm a 45-year-old man, and I'm like loving. I'm just glued to watching you make balloons. I still love balloons in all forms and fashion. And I was just talking on Instagram with a sexpert who has done like the morning Playboy thing, and we've been trying to get her on the show for a few weeks, but she's been having issues with her toddler, and so I've been giving her toddler advice, coming from me, which is weird. But and my advice was like, look, I'm a 45-year-old man, and I still love blanket forts and love making them with my nephew. Make your kid a blanket fort.
Right. Oh no, absolutely. Listen, I make the joke all the time. I'm the biggest 13-year-old you're ever going to meet.
Right. I'm a giant man child with a fluffy beard. That's.
But yeah, so I started doing those Foley shows. And like before that, I was running video cameras and taping live wrestling shows, you know. So I'm doing that. And I'm doing balloons on the side and everything. So I got this a little modicum of street cred in the wrestling world, you know, because people know what I do. They know I had a good rep. They all said I was a nice guy, and you know I'm good. You know, so I could walk into pretty much any place there were wrestlers, and they wouldn't look at me like I had 2 heads, or they didn't look at me like I was supposed to be there. Not that I'm one of the boys. I'm not trying to say I'm one of the boys, but I had that level of hey, you know what? You've done stuff for Foley. You've done stuff for Len Oddity. You've done stuff. Okay, we like them. If they trust you, we're gonna trust you.
Yeah, well, because I mean, these are extreme athletes and performers. It's a very unique club that goes back to the '60s. Really, like they all respect each other.
Oh yeah, well absolutely.
Yeah.
So that that has and then I'll make a balloon of something that Mick asked for or whatever, and Mick will share that balloon on Twitter. He has 1 million Twitter followers. Okay, I have 1,000 Twitter followers. I can post something and no one would ever bat an eye of anything I post. If Mick posts it to his 1 million Twitter followers, people are going to see it. You know, like he asked me 2 years ago, maybe a little less than that, to make the Step Brothers from the Step Brothers movie for his birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I made a Will Ferrell, and I made a John C. Reilly, and I made an Adam. I forgot his name. He had to play the brother, Derek. Adam.
I'm brain farting on it too.
Yeah, but him. I made one of them too.
I am DM people.
Yeah. So I made all those balloons. I delivered them to his house, and he took a picture of him holding all the balloons, and he tagged. I'm blank on everything. Who directed that movie?
Oh, my brain doesn't work the way you remember me.
My brain doesn't work. My brain doesn't work either. He made all those movies. He made Knocked Up. He made 40-Year-Old Virgin. He made. I'm disrespecting the guy because I can't remember his name. He's a huge guy. He's a huge name.
Keep talking while I look.
I'm gonna twist while you look. But yeah, his name's out of my head. You know, I really can't place it. But when you find it, you're gonna go, oh, you know, because he's that kind of name. He's a big name.
Adam McKay.
Adam McKay. Okay, Adam McKay was the okay.
Oh, you're not talking to the director. Wait.
No, the director's someone different. You're right. Adam McKay was. Yeah, you're right. Adam McKay was the producer of that one.
Anyway, that's off subject, but
not important right now. The point I'm trying to make is that he tweets out, you know, my balloons, and a director in Hollywood sees my balloons and retweets like, hey, maybe that's pretty cool. Now, I'm not meeting this director, and he's not saying anything to me directly, but it's still kind of fun that somebody that I knew liked it. So that's that. Yeah, you know what it is yet?
It looks like a dog with a red mohawk.
It's a dog with a helmet with a big red top going down the helmet.
Is it a specific dog?
It is a specific dog.
Because it looks like a Warner Brothers dog.
Warner Brothers dog.
That might have a certain friend who's constantly trying to disintegrate bugs.
He might have a certain friend who's trying to blow up the earth.
All right. That's who I thought it was. I can't think of the damn character's name.
I never knew what he was either, but he has
yeah, so it's Marvin the Martian's dog.
Yes.
Well,
it's an exclusive. I've never done this before.
Okay. So you literally just thought to make this, and you're creating this out of nowhere in your head.
So yeah, so there we go. We got it. We got him right there.
You did pick a very good balloon for me, actually.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, you did. You did. You could have went with like Wacko.
Yeah. I've never done that. It's like when I do conventions now, you know, I try to do something that is memorable. Mm-hmm. I try to do something that's based on a guest at the show, something or another.
Something that they're going to remember forever, since we're never ever going to have another convention again.
It does feel that way. I mean, I'll tell you, that's the hardest thing. I went from like a month and a half ago, before all this stuff really started happening. I'm trying to figure out, why isn't so-and-so calling me back? Oh, I want to be at this show, and I get turned down from this show, and okay, whatever. Because I know what I do as a niche. You know, I don't fit a lot of the things that people who book shows are looking for.
They don't think you do until you're there and they see your product, though.
Right. Well, that's the hardest thing is getting inside the door. So like I'll go in, so I'll go to convention and I'll go, hey, they go, okay, well, we'll put you into our vendor people. I'm like, I'm not a vendor. I'm like, what do you mean? I said, I don't sell anything. I said, the only thing I sell is myself, and that's just because I'm selling myself as an entertainment, a unique style of entertainment for your show. Well, what do you do? Oh, I do 6-foot superheroes. I do how many guests you have at your convention, I'll do pieces for all the guests, or whatever. And either they like it or they don't like it, because it's the people who think outside the box. I go and do their shows. People who are stuck to you're either an artist, a vendor, or a celebrity. Well, I don't fit any one of those.
Right, and you're not saying, hey, I need $1,000 on the table. Just give me a table so I can network and promote myself in the community, so I can get myself some parties and gigs.
Exactly, or if I'm going to a convention out of state, I'm not, I have no reason to lie. I'm like, hey, look here's all my offerings. If you want the entire offerings, here's what it takes. You want less than that? Okay, we can negotiate, and bottom line, if a show wants to cover me to get there and puts me up for the weekend, as long as there's no money coming out of my pocket, it's a win for everybody.
Right.
But
I can't tell you how much money I've wasted in the last 10 years at every convention. I've never broken even at a con.
I probably haven't 100% broken even at a con. I'll tell you that. Because balloons still cost money, and as far as that's concerned, whatever. But like I've started I've done I did the big pieces. Like I did. I've had like conventions have given me a lot of great moments, both with with wrestlers or with people. Like I have a great photo where I made a full-size Chewbacca and Peter Mayhew posed with it. And it's like that's a once in a lifetime, right? Oh yeah, for sure. It's a once in a lifetime thing. I'm not going to have it.
We miss you, Peter. We love you, Mayhew family.
Oh,
see you to con somewhere. It's been a while.
Yeah, he was a sweetheart of a guy.
And it was, and when I saw the picture, I was just like, I was amazed because of how the mere size of a balloon Chewbacca that you put together blew my mind away.
Yeah, I mean,
how tall was that thing?
It was as tall as he was. It was in that area. It was taller than me. You see the pictures I have it on my Facebook. I have it on my online. It's taller than I am. So that explains right there. I've done a full-size Thanos, so an 8.5 foot tall Thanos out of balloon. I don't mind. That's about as big as I want to go. 8 foot, 9 foot. Like I have friends in the industry. I have a friend who actually at Salt Lake Comic Con a couple of years ago set the world record for the largest balloon sculpture by one person. He made a balloon robot that was so tall it wouldn't fit inside the airplane hangar they were having the convention.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh, and it's like, so he's amazing, and it's like great. I like what I do, and I love working with balloons. I don't need to be him. He's him. He's doing that, and I'm trying to build a niche for myself. And like I'm the guy who does. You need a guy who does professional wrestlers. I've made 150 professional wrestlers out of balloons, different wrestlers out of balloons and that's just in my Road to WrestleMania series over a 6-year span.
Well, no wonder you can pull a dog out of your nowhere then.
Well, that's not counting. Wrestlers I make at wrestling shows or wrestlers that I make just for fun because it's their birthday. So I do that. Yeah, I mean, I have at any point in time in my head, it's like a Rolodex. I have 75 to 100 balloon designs in my head, if you ask me.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel, but I haven't done a lot with it, to be absolutely honest. I usually I know. My YouTube channel for the longest time has been I'll cut a video. I'll tell you the truth.
You should be putting up 2 videos a week right now.
I'll tell you why I got a YouTube channel. This is the honest truth why I got a YouTube channel. I was applying for Comic Book Men to be on Comic Book Men. And so they go, so you have what?
Speaking of Comic Book Man, because
yes,
because he's not supposed to be here today, and thanks for switching times for me.
It's okay. I'll take it.
I couldn't help take a screenshot of your message to me and post it to Facebook because I was in my bedroom just laughing my butt off at what you messaged to me. For those of you who don't know, I'm doing Brian O'Halloran after this to complete my Clerks podcast I've been working on for months. Anyway, but
no, I've known Brian off and on through conventions for years. He was actually. I got mad at my friend. My friend owns a puppet theater here on Long Island, and it's just awesome. And they were shooting a movie in that puppet theater that Brian was in the movie. And I was like, call me and let me know this guy I know is going to be at your damn theater.
What movie?
I do not know the name of the film.
Because that's why I brought this up, because you were mentioning Comic Book Man. Have you watched, because I'm about to talk to him about this, because it's fucking insane. I'd never even heard of it until Scott told me about it while I was interviewing him for the podcast. Have you watched Brian Johnson's Vulgar starring Brian yet?
I have seen that movie. It's been a long time. I watched it, I think, years and years ago.
It's the Joker before Joaquin Phoenix did Joker.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, it's
it's for being an indie film and when it was made and everything, and just like the writing and acting and everything. It's a good film. It's intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and it goes to some real dark places. That's Brian Johnson. But yeah, I was years ago. Mm-hmm. I was at Eternal Con. It's just a big convention here on Long Island. And they actually had the production company and I had known Ming through conventions a little bit. I met him here, I met him there. We had friends in common, that kind of thing. So I'm talking to Ming, and he's there next to the the casting booth for Comic Book Men. And they go, hey, you know, and they're seeing me run around and do what I do at conventions where I'm just energy and I'm just going here and I'm going there and I'm making this balloon and delivering that balloon and talking, you know, and just smiling and, as I say, talking loud and drawing a crowd. So
that's the name of the game sometimes.
Yeah, you know, so they see me and they go, oh my God, it'd be great. We'd love if you applied for the show. So I applied to the show. You had to have a YouTube channel to apply to the show to put your videos on YouTube. So I got the YouTube channel for that. So for the longest time, I had one video on my YouTube channel, and that was my application video for Comic Book Men. Then I got, and that didn't go my way at all. I never got a call back or anything. So I tried the next year, and I applied the second time. And I got through casting. They called me. They had a whole, they liked my story. They, you know, and I wasn't doing anything PoppinTwist. It was just Derek as a comic book fan and a fan of Kevin Smith's work, and that was it. So I got
Kevin who?
So I get a call. You know, would you want to come in and talk to casting? We're gonna give you the production, and we'll let you know. Great. Casting calls me back and says, okay, production wants to change this. Would you be willing to do this? Willing to do that? Hey guys, yeah. I'm fine with whatever you want me to do. I'm cool with it. Let's go. Ends up not go. I don't get a phone call back again. This is like season 2, season 3. I mean, it's just going back. So then I'm like, you know what? Obviously, this is not something they want from me. You know, it's not, the ship has sailed. I'm not going to worry about it. So I just keep doing conventions and doing what doing my thing, and I'm talking to Ming, and Ming's like, dude, you should totally apply for the show. I said, Ming, I've applied twice for the show. He's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, you know, well, you should do it again. I'm like, ah. And then, you know, I'm seeing Rob Bruce at 5 conventions a year, you know, or 4 conventions a year. You know, Mike Carbo's show and this show and other show, Big Apple. And he's like, and we're talking, he's like, dude, you should totally apply for the show. I go, Rob, I've applied for the show twice. No one wanted me. He goes, well, I'm a producer on the show. I'm like, right. He goes, so I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, well, maybe I can do something. I said, well, I'm just gonna, whatever. He goes, do me a favor. He goes, apply for the show. So I applied for the show. This time though, I took it because I got 3 more years of experience being Mr. PoppinTwist at this point. Right. So I applied twice. I applied once. Hi, I'm Derek. I'm a comic book fan. I want to, I would love to come in and talk to you about this book or that book, blah, 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 and that's it. And then I did another video and followed it up, and I was full on 100% PoppinTwist. You know, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm Mr. PoppinTwist. Maybe you've seen my work at conventions all over. You know, maybe you saw the one I did in Ming. Maybe you saw this. Maybe you saw that. You know, and I just went in with both barrels.
You clickbaited themselves with themselves.
Right. You know, and in the email, I'm like, hey, just so you know, I said, I know Rob Bruce, I know Ming, I know this, I know that, you know, whatever. So, and then I get a call back from casting, and casting goes, hey, great, you know, we like your story, and we know you applied in the past. We're going to push you through again to the producers and see how it goes. Okay, great. So then I wait, and I get a phone call, and now the casting people had this whole story they needed me to do, and I had to make sure I had all my story straight, and it's all good. You know, it was all based in fact. I wasn't making anything up, but they wanted me to make sure I had, you know, this whole story. Great, no problem.
It's television, yeah.
Right, and it's reality television, which we all know is scripted, and no one ever believes that.
No, it sure is. I've been on the filming end of it. Yes. I've been the one going, ooh, say that again. That was weird.
You know, so yeah, so I get this phone call from production, and they go, hey, and they go, hi, and basically they go, I had just done a full-size Spider-Man. I worked in the movie theater not far from my house. I'd done a full-size Spider-Man. I hung it from a ceiling for when Spider-Man Homecoming came out, and so they saw that. Like, could you do that again? I'm like, yeah. Could you do that for our show? Yeah, I'm happy to do PoppinTwist on your show. It's what I do. It's my secret identity. You know, I will do that. So it turns into this whole thing where I'm doing balloons and this and that, whatever. I still had the item to come in with and everything. So fast forward, I get to, I get 5 phone calls from production. They moved me 5 times for when they wanted to shoot with me. Now, as I watch the season,
that sounds familiar today.
Yeah, you know, I know where I am on the call sheet. I'm not number 1. I get it, but yeah, I know where my place is in life. But so yeah, so I end up I go in and we shoot, and I will 100% say when it comes to that show that I know people who've been on reality shows. I know people who have been on production end of reality shows, and I was expected for them to come in and tell me exactly what I was supposed to say, and and that was it. There were some pieces I did have to come up with for this item, because I'm not going to lie, the item that I used in the show was provided to me. I didn't go in with that item. That item was a production's item. I don't think I'm spoiling anything right now. The show is 2 years old. You go find it on Amazon. Last season of I'm on the last season of the show. So I go in, all prepared with all my information, all my story, all this, all that, whatever. We go in, we start shooting, and it really was a very organic conversation.
They're all great guys, easy to talk to. Yeah.
Ming, because I knew Ming, it kind of, again, it's the whole wrestling thing. I knew Ming, so I come in and I'm okay because I know somebody. Right. I'm not just somebody who's a stranger off the street. So I'm talking to Walter, and I'm talking to and Brian, and we're having this. So we ended up recording. I was in there shooting for almost 45 minutes, which is astounding to me. For whatever. When I leave, they say, "Okay, we don't have any guarantees for you." I said, "Okay." She goes, "Look," "once it goes to editing, they have all the control. There's 2 producers for that show at the time. They each had their own people, and they would make bets every season to see who had more people show up on the show, because they didn't know."
But that sounds like fun production. Okay.
Right. So production didn't know what was going to end up on the final cut. No one knew what was going to end up in the final cut. So, but the producer said to me, she goes, "Derek," she goes, "you did everything that editors like." She goes, "You didn't talk over anybody. You did, she goes, everyone was good." She goes, "It was an enjoyable segment. People laughed." She goes, "You did everything that the editors like." She goes, "So it could go either way." All right. Go back into the green room. I see Ming. He's like, and Ming was like, "Dude," he goes, "that was great. Everyone loved you." Brian, who people know, Brian is a little bit standoffish with people. It's just not. That's just the way he is. Literally goes out of his way to come over and shake my hand and say, "Thank you. We had a lot of fun with you today." Which cool. I took that as I was honored by that. I'm like, "This is great. Thank you." Then Rob Bruce comes over because he goes, "Honestly," "this is probably one of the best segments we've ever shot on this show." I think you would tell that to anybody. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, so far this is the best podcast I've ever done.
But yeah, so then they go, "Wait, you just gotta wait." So new season starts, and I'm watching, and the whole first half of the season goes, and I'm not there, and I'm like, "You know what? Hey, it was a fun experience. I'm happy, And then I'm watching one night that they happened to push the whole night back, because it aired after Walking Dead.
Right. Yeah.
So it was supposed to air at midnight.
And they changed the airing times all the time because of Walking Dead and Talking Dead and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
So this one night, it gets pushed back to like 1:15 in the morning. And I'm like, "You know what? I wasn't sleeping. I'll just watch it anyway." I recorded every episode, but because it got pushed so far back for my DVR to be messed up. So I'm like, I'll just watch it, And I'm watching, and it goes to the commercial bump right before the commercial break, and it's Brian Johnson saying, "Can you make a little Ming?" And I'm like, "Wait, I was in the room when he said that. I heard that. Wait." And it cuts to me, and I'm like, "Holy crap." Now, I had that Mike Wazowski moment from Monsters, Inc. I'm on TV. But
I know that moment. I remember mine clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's 1:45 or 1:30, 1:40 in the morning. I'm freaking out, but I can't call anyone. I can't tell anyone. god awful in the middle of the night.
You woke your wife up.
Well, I woke her up after it was all said and done. But I recorded because the DVR wasn't. As I set the DVR, I recorded the segment, and I was like, this is great, this is awesome. I thought that was going to be my calling card to the Comic Con. Like I was on Comic Book Man. It's going to be my golden ticket to any Comic Con I want to go into. People are going to want, hey, you were on Comic Book Man. Come on into our, yeah.
Yeah, that's not always how it works. Yeah, no, I get it. And you got to get out there and work, and you got to get out there and promote yourself. But you're not out there doing that right now. And con season has been canceled. So what are you and your family doing for your mental health to stay sane during this quarantine?
Well, I mean, my wife's working from home, which is I'm happy about that. She, so her day, she's got this meeting, that meeting, phone calls and conferences and stuff. I'm helping the kids do their schoolwork, and I'm doing my. So
they're still alive. You haven't killed them yet.
No. They'll keep me alive. It's good. They do their schoolwork, and then I help them in their schoolwork a little bit and that kind of thing. And then I started doing this live show on Facebook,
which you should be doing live on your YouTube channel instead.
I tried to go live on YouTube twice, and it kicked me out twice. And it flagged me for some sort of copyright violation I wasn't making because there was no music playing and I wasn't selling anything.
That's weird. Were you using your computer or your phone?
I was using my computer.
Try it on your phone next time.
Okay.
The app, it's easier to go live using the phone app than it is the computer. I have found that out.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so I because I had a whole plan to go live on all these different things. And I run my phone. I have my cell phone and my son's cell phone on two speaker stands side by side, and I run my Facebook on mine and Instagram on his, and we go live. We start at the same time. We simulcast. We're simulcasting on two things at the same time.
Have you heard of Restream?
No, what is that?
Restream. You just send it to Restream, and it sends it to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all of them for you, including some stuff I've never even heard of. So
all right, I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking into, possibly switching things up. Well, not for this, but I got hit up to help produce another podcast. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, okay. Well,
So yeah, but yeah, and I have been enjoying I've been sharing your live PoppinTwist to my Facebook. So
I appreciate that.
Hopefully get you some more views. And so everybody out there, go follow him on Facebook and his social media and his YouTube, so you can see more videos and check him out live. And that way, once the conventions start back up, hopefully in the fall, or middle summer, late summer, so we can get a couple months of con season in before the virus comes back in fall with round 2 of however it frickin' mutates. Anyway.
No, it's the scary thing about it is, and you know this as well as I do because you've done so many conventions, is you get sick after a convention anyway.
Con crud.
You can't avoid it.
It's called the con crud. Us nerds have a name for it.
Yeah. So if you're getting con crud anyway, and that's in a situation where you don't have a pandemic, you're guaranteed to have it. So it only makes sense. You got to pull back and not do it. It's sad and it's monumental that San Diego Comic Con is canceled for the first time ever.
Yeah, but, and I have hundreds and hundreds of friends right now that are not making money because that's their entire livelihood is different conventions around the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So so that's that. It makes sense that they're not putting everybody in that environment. You can't. It makes sense that you're not putting everyone into a full baseball field or a football stadium. I get why WrestleMania went without people,
which was so hard to watch.
It was a little. I didn't watch the whole show. It was awkward.
I watched 10 minutes and was like, done. Yeah.
I've watched independent wrestling shows with 5 people in the audience, so that's no big deal to me. I get that, but
and I'm not a loyal viewer.
Right.
I literally tuned in to be like, I gotta see what this is like without an audience.
Right, but you need that crowd. It's like I made the.
It's like watching my own podcast. There's no audience. There's 3 people out there watching this.
I watch my own stuff all the time. I am that much of a narcissist. I will. It doesn't matter. I have people who I know from theater, and they go, I never watch my own shows. I'm like, I watch my own shows all the time. And like, why? I said, why are you doing it if you don't like to watch yourself doing it? And I'm like, well, what do you know?
I watch my own stuff so that way I can get the hits on YouTube to get paid. So, all right, so let's get to my favorite part of any podcast. My favorite 3 questions to kind of wrap this up. Who's your favorite superhero or just hero?
My favorite, it's Colossus. It's really Colossus. Yeah.
Why?
I always loved. Well, I'll sum it up with this. I loved Colossus because he had the heart of an artist, but he was super strong, and you didn't mess with him. You know, he didn't go out to fight first, but if a fight happened, he was going to end that fight.
Busy reading poetry.
Right. But I was actually telling John Broglia about this at a show about 2 years ago. John Broglia is an artist. He works with Billy Tucci. He's a really talented guy. Check out his stuff. He does an old school kind of 40s pulp vibe. Really good stuff. And I was talking to him and J.C. Vaughn, and they were talking about, and I said the moment that I became a Colossus fan for life was during the Morlock Massacre, during the X-Men run, when Marvel did the Morlock Massacre, which when the Mr. Sinister sent all the people in to destroy all the Morlocks under the city of New York City. There's this one scene where they're trying to get these Morlock refugees out, and Harpoon and Scalp Hunter and Riptide all show up, and they're just tearing everybody apart. Mm-hmm. And Colossus kind of, you see something, they draw it so well, like something just kind of flicks in his head, like, so he puts himself in the way, and he goes up real close, and the way they do the scene is paneled out, it's Colossus grabs Riptide by the neck. You see Riptide like this, you see him crack his neck literally in shadow, and he turns, looking directly to the camera, out to the audience, and says, Harpoon, make peace with your gods, little man, you're next. And I'm like, you know what? That just shows how far you push somebody. He's a nice guy, and he's a gentle guy, and you just push him to the point where you took that for granted. And so I always loved Colossus in that way. Like he was just, you knew what you got with him, and people, and you just don't want to put. I've been a Colossus fan for a very long time.
And exactly, like your point being, I've been a bouncer at a bar, not because I wanted to, but it was my shift and I wasn't behind the bar. And I hate fighting. I hate stopping fights. And if I get so angry to the point where you see me crying, that means you're about to get your ass fucking kicked.
Right.
So, because don't push, never piss off a pacifist is what I say. I
agree.
So your heroes are only as good as your villains. Who's your favorite villain?
Taskmaster.
Who?
The Taskmaster.
Why?
Because I thought his powers were awesome, and I like the idea because.
What are his powers for anyone who doesn't know?
Okay, so Taskmaster, who was actually featured in the Black Widow movie, which is coming out, he's finally getting his due as far as that's concerned. Taskmaster's powers, he has what's called photographic reflexes. He can see someone do something, and he knows how to do it. Now, it's only physical. It's not that you can't reproduce superpowers or anything like that. But he can watch Captain America and how Captain America moves and uses the shield and fights. He can do it just like Captain America. He can use a bow like Hawkeye. He can grab a sword and sword fight like Black Knight. Anything he watches, riding a horse, whatever. If he sees you do it physically, he knows how to do it.
So instead of downloading it like Neo had to in the Matrix, he just had to see it.
Right. And what I loved about him as a character is where they took it. It's like, you always have villains, and the villain, like there's no motivation. Like the villains, like they become a villain because they want to take over the world. Why? Like not everyone wants. If every villain takes over the world, they're only going to fight these other villains because there's only so much world to go around.
I have never thought of it that way.
So
did you watch my mind explode in front of me?
I saw that. So what I love the most about Taskmaster is that he realizes very early on that he's not going to beat these superpowered guys who, he can do what these guys can do, the agile guys and Daredevil and this and that. He can do that, but he's not going to go toe-to-toe with Thor or the Hulk or whatever. So he goes underground, opens up a school to train bad guys. So basically, you go to bad guy school. And it's like, that's genius. Because he's just getting paid, sending the guys out to do stupid stuff or whatever they want to do. And he's just cashing the checks.
So, so he's the bad guy professor. Are you watching Money Heist on Netflix? You need to be watching that.
I will. My wife and I just finished watching Umbrella Academy. 4
short seasons. It's amazing. I can't wait for the next season. It's out of Spain. It's a Spain production. And I tell you what, it is poetry television. It is a master class on how to make television in every sense. In the writing, in the music, in the editing, the filming, the acting. I am madly in love with Money Heist. Anyway.
Let's check it out.
Who is your real life hero? Who inspires you?
Oh goodness.
Everybody pauses. Is just like, oh crap.
That's because that's a hard question because it's gonna sound cheesy.
Mine's my mom.
My wife inspires me because I'm not the easiest person to deal with. I know that. As we discussed, I'm a 13-year-old in a 45-year-old body. I'm a performer. I'm an artist. I'm an entertainer. It's not an easy life to
which comes with its own insecurities.
Exactly. It's not it's not to be an act. But on top of that, my wife, she has her own things she has to deal with, and she deals with her own like I'm the extrovert and she's the introvert. But she has her own things she deals with, with insecurities and depression and things of that nature. And and she knows what she's got to do, and she gets up every morning and she tries to go and she tries to do it. And I try to take from that, that inspires me, or I feel good. A couple of years ago, she was doing a thing on Facebook where she was like writing, I guess it would be a blog is the best way I can explain it. She would write like a paragraph, and people were every day or, a reflection of this or that, or if a picture would speak to her in some way.
She was mini journalizing on Facebook.
Yeah. And
I used to do that
every day. Yeah. She was doing it every day, and people were like looking forward to her next day and doing it. And I was like, I was really proud of her. And I'm like, she's putting herself out there in a way she wasn't never put herself out there before. And she's like, I don't understand why people want to read this. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you understand why they want to read it. They want to read it. So just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about what the people are asking for. Just do what works for you.
Exactly, because you never know who you're going to inspire by just being yourself, even.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good life lesson, because like I've had people come up to me in bars that I haven't seen for a few years and being like, when you posted this, and they quote me exactly from like 2 years ago, and I'm like, I don't even remember posting that. How drunk was I? They're like, you literally saved my life. So like you never know. You never know. And that's why being honest and open and, sharing a piece of yourself out there, like your wife is doing, is inspiring. So that's beautiful. I'm glad you shared that.
Well, thank you.
So everybody go follow Mr. PoppinTwist on all of his social media. Hit him up for an East Coast party once you start getting the kids together. And more importantly, just go like and share his stuff, because he's just a stand-up great human being that I love.
Thank you, sir. I love you too.
All right. Well, hopefully con season will be back eventually. And hopefully the coronavirus goes away quickly so I can actually see my doctor so they can figure out what's wrong with me. So that way, once conventions come back, I can physically go to them again.
Yes. Well, we got to figure out what's wrong with you. But I don't know if there's enough doctors for that, Casey.
Well, I don't know. They've been trying to figure that out since I was a wee little lad. I know for sure. But brother, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for entertaining everyone out there in the Murdock Worldwide Entertainment. And I can't wait to see you somewhere down the road.
Good to see you.
Wait, the first time, where
I
did you
met
meet?
Vernon.
Where did you meet him the first time? No, tell me, because you know how much I love me some Vernon.
I met Vernon Wells at Eternal Con a couple years ago, second or third Eternal Con. He was there with a few of the Power Ranger actors. He came in, and I said to him, I said, look, I said, I have a friend. His name is KC. You might know him. Said he did this Chronicles of Comic Con bit that I think is the most amazing hysterical bit I've ever seen. He goes, yeah. He goes, I said, how much would it cost for me to get a picture of you signed by your brother? And he laughed, and he goes, oh, I'm not going to do that. I said, no, I said, it's okay. I said, the reason why I laugh so much at that bit is because it reminds me of my favorite Simpsons bit. When Milhouse has to go to the bathroom at the comic book store. And it's a one-off little bit. And he goes, and comic book guy goes, well, he goes, the bathroom is for customers only. And he's like, okay, well, I'll buy something. He's like, okay, what do you want to buy? And he goes, what's that? And he points in the cabinet. He goes, that's a rare photo of Sean Connery signed by Roger Moore. And I always thought, so you get Vernon Wells as I can put I'm his brother on it.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's one of my favorite convention moments ever at Phoenix Comic Con, and him doing that with my boy Lem, who passed away a few months ago.
I know.
Whose last badge from WonderCon is hanging behind me, and so like that's one of those moments that I will love forever. So yeah. Thank you, Vernon Wells.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That in the Chronicles of Comic Con where he goes, take a picture with me with George George Lopez, not George George Perez.
Yeah, he called him George Lopez instead of George Perez. Oh,
I laughed at that too. See, so yeah. Every time I see Vernon Wells, I'm constantly reminded of that. Well, he went to the toilet. I could sign it for you. I'm his brother.
Yeah. So and hopefully, I always thought that deserved more hits and more views. So
I share it at least once a year.